Hey everybody, and welcome to Shooting the with Yankee. As usual, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Tonight's topic is proper shooting stance. When you're shooting a handgun, what is the way you should be standing when you're doing that? You know, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on this. A lot of people go spend a lot of money learning how to do it, how to stand properly. And even more people love to get on other people on the internet when they don't do it like that. You know, they love to let them know how wrong they are. Now, is there an actual proper shooting stance? Well, yes, there's proper ways to stand, mainly so that you're balanced, so that you're not falling over, so that you have control of not only your firearm, but your body. But as far as minute details like, ooh, does the Chapman stance better or the Weaver stance better? You know, was my foot better 4 inches farther forward or 4 inches farther backward? That's all dependent on you. You know, oh, is my shoulder driving the gun? I've never understood the whole driving the gun policy because unless you're running towards the fight, most of that's moot anyway. So, in my opinion, a lot of people spend too much time figuring out how to drive that gun towards the target instead of how to drive their ass the other direction if there's a threat over there. But as far as stance goes when you're shooting, make sure you've got your balance. Make sure you can move. Make sure that from the position you're standing, the way you're standing, you can actually take off running if what you're shooting at doesn't stop. That's the main thing. But like I said, other than that, it's all about balance. It's all about controlling your firearm. And most of you aren't going to be in a combat situation. So the thing you should worry about the most is what works for you. Your body's going to be a little different. We're not all shaped the same. I've met people that if you put them in the Chapman stance, they fall over. They have a hard time keeping their balance. I'm kind of like that with the Weaver stance or the isosceles stance. I need a little more balance. I got some big old, some tig old bitties, let's say. So I'm a little forward balanced. So I like to keep my weight a little back further. Same thing with Krav Maga. My starting stance, my supporting foot was always a little further back than normal. I just kind of need that for the way I'm balanced. And the way you're balanced might be different than the way other people are balanced. So study all the stances. Maybe there's not one for you. Maybe there is parts of each that work for you. As long as you're not falling over, as long as you're not having trouble controlling yourself, you're probably doing a pretty good job. And work from there. I mean, I don't mind when people come up, like if you're being trained or you're having trouble and someone says, hey, I see you're having this problem. Maybe if you did this a little differently, you'd be a little more comfortable when you're shooting. That's perfectly fine. But if someone sees you shooting and you're doing fine and you're hitting your target and you're comfortable and you're in control of your body, tell them to pound sand and get the hell away from you. Because those kind of people don't understand really anything. They don't understand shooting. They don't understand bodies, anatomy, weight distribution, etc., because it's not going to be the same for every person. You do what's right for you in most circumstances. Like I said, as long as you feel like you've got your balance, that you could run at any second from that position, usually in the opposite direction or side to side to dodge. If you can do those things while still controlling your gun and hitting your target, well, then you're standing right. And let's see what people have to say over here. If any one of the viewers want to weigh in, because remember, this is supposed to be more about your opinions than mine. I just get the ball rolling. Edgar Cortez, one of our regulars, says the isosceles stance with arms extended at eye level is what many folks use, but it is not the only stance. Paul Harrell had one arm extended and the other arm flexed, so I don't think there's a one size fit all. There's not. The Chapman flexes the arm more. I like that stance. And like I say, I usually use that one pretty much, but I use different ones. And it also depends what kind of ground am I standing on. That often also weighs in a lot of times. But usually I think the proper shooting stance for me is usually gun pointed straight in the air and my ass running the other direction. So I'm getting the hell out of Dodge if there's trouble. Mikey D says, I like the Han Solo Greedo position. So you mean under the desk, acting like a, pew. Well, I don't think you're going to be at a table for most of the times you need to shoot someone. But if you are, I guess that would always work. Also, gangster style. I think they did that a lot. Or what I think of when I think of shooting at a table, like I think of derringers in like card players' hands. You know, like when the guy across the table gets angry and pulls out a pistol, you have to boom the derringer under the table. You know, the old gambler movies. Johnny Mandrick said, for self-defense stances, you won't have time to get into a stance. For self-defense chances are you won't have time to get into a stance. That makes more sense if I read it properly. That's true. You may not have time to get into a stance. Then again, you might. But here's the thing. If you got time to get into a proper stance, you might have time to get the fuck away. That's number one rule. Get the fuck away, in my opinion. Escape. Live to not fight another day. That's the coward's motto. Aaron Talks Firearms says, ignore the trainers, use what works for you. Well, I wouldn't say ignore them, but do what works for you. Stand the way that you're comfortable, you're balanced, you're in control of your firearm. They don't have your body. And most good trainers will tell you. I've been in classes before. I've taken training, regardless of what people think. I've taken a lot of it, both professionally and personally. And I've seen trainers before tell a woman who was very apple-shaped and very buxom one time, like, yeah, none of the normal stances are going to work for you. So, get how you're comfortable. And that made a lot of sense. That was a good trainer. So I wouldn't ignore them if they're trying to help you with a problem you're having. But here's the thing. If you're not having the problem, then you don't need the help. Let's see here. Mr. Furley chimed in and says, Weaver stance, firm grip, body weight behind the gun. I like the firm grip thing. And that's one thing I'm trying to get over as I'm getting older. Nowadays it's more about leverage, push and pull. That's the thing people stress mostly. But I'm from that old school where it's like, once you let go of your gun, the grip should be imprinted in your hand, kind of old school kind of thinking. And I try to get over that, but my body's just kind of hardwired for it. I still do the push and pull, but I've got a grip of steel on my gun when I'm doing that. Felice Shanice says, facing toward the target. Well, optimally, yes, but I wouldn't be opposed to doing this if it was getting me the hell out of there. That one-handed over the shoulder, or do like, I remember someone used to do videos testing guns upside down to see if they failed. I can't remember who it was. Revolvers won't fail upside down, by the way, in case you're wondering. Dale Rickety said, I got nothing of value on this question. Well, I don't know. We don't know if you don't say, but we'll take his word for it. I bit my lip really hard. It's bothering me. Mike White, 2A Advocacy, says, however you're most comfortable and can get it done. Yeah, that's the main thing. Are you hitting your target? Are you in control of your gun? Are you in control of your body? Those are the two most important things. And if you're in control of your body, if I walk up to you and I tap you and you don't fall over, you're probably doing pretty good. If you're hitting your target, you're probably doing pretty good. Otherwise, if you're not hitting your target, or I've seen a lot of people who think they're professionals and they're in their stance. And I've seen range officers go up behind, trainers go up behind them before and go push, and they go, wah! I'm like, well, you're not controlling your body. Iowa Joe says, what about the gangster style sideways gun? Well, I think that only works with Glocks. I don't think that is other guns are meant to be fired that way. I think it's the way Glocks were designed to be fired. That's why they got that weird grip angle, I think, is so that you can shoot them sideways. But the thing about shooting sideways, that's a one-handed grip. And there's nothing wrong with one-handed grips, but that'd be an entirely different subject whatsoever to talk about. There's nothing wrong with a one-handed grip if you can control that gun. Two hands is about control, being able to control recoil, be able to aim your gun properly, be able to put your gun on target. If you can do that with one hand with a certain gun, well, then more power to you. Do something else with the other gun, like, call a cab to get the fuck out of there. But that looks like that's it for today. Those are the people that weighed in. And it seems like everybody's got some varied opinions on which stance or what stance works for them. And I don't think most of the people that come to my chat are the type that would say you're doing it wrong if you're doing it right for you. So I'm not surprised at all by that. How about you? Do you agree? Let me know in the comment section below of this video. Otherwise, if you want to weigh in on one of our topics live, like the fine people here did, come into one of our live chats. We do them every night at 6 p.m., except for Wednesdays when they're at 7 p.m. We do the Shooting the Shit with Yankee, followed by our live open chat. Someone weighed in here at the last second because they love to interrupt my closing. Could you imagine Michael J. Fox trying to use a SIG P320 at a range? Parkinson's aside, his rattling would have would have it singing like a full auto. He would be jerking it around, I have a feeling. I don't think he probably would be able, can he? I wonder if he'd even be able to lift and aim a gun. It would be a spray and pray method, I'm pretty sure. But as I said, we do our live chats every night. Hopefully I'll see you at one of them. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.